Good evening. Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. More than 1 million people in Hong Kong live below the poverty line. Over 1/5 are children, 1/3 the elderly. Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying has proposed poverty alleviation initiatives, including an allowance for the working class poor. Producer Erica Poon examines the plight of the impoverished and what's being done to help them.
Yong Yan, aged 36, was born in Shenhui to a Hong Kong father and mainland mother. She worked in a factory there while commuting to Hong Kong and obtained her residency after 7 years. When her father refused to add her name to his Hong Kong public housing flat, Yan returned to live on the mainland. Yan married a mainlander in 2004, and after her husband, Along, got his one-way permit in 2008, the couple and their mainland-born son, Quan, came to live in Hong Kong. Her younger son, Fai, was born here. Their household income is $12,000 a month.
Bought fish, cilantro, tofu, chicken wings. I look at prices. Yes.
Yan says the family spends about $5,000 on food each month and $1,050 on tutoring for Quan. The family rents this subdivided flat in Sham Shui Po for $4,000 a month.
I sleep here. Yes. Sleep here. Sleep in the living room. Insufficient blankets. He's pulling. Not enough space. A bit crowded. When Grandpa visits, he sleeps here. My husband sleeps in the room. Of course, public housing. $1,000 rent can save $3,000.
The family applied for public housing in late 2009, but is still on the wait list. The housing department says its target waiting time is 3 years, but due to
many different factors and individual choices, it is impossible to estimate individual applicants' waiting time for public rental housing.
Along works as a mover and is the sole breadwinner. After the family pays for the phone, utilities, and miscellaneous, he has to sometimes borrow from his dad on the mainland. The family rarely goes out to eat. From the public coffers, Along gets a transport subsidy to go to work. The 2 children get financial assistance at school, but the family has not applied for comprehensive Social Security assistance.
If we have enough, we don't have to apply for CSSA. Yes.
Hong Kong has set the official poverty line at 50% of median monthly household incomes before tax and cash benefits from the government. The Lees are officially poor, with income below the 4-person family income at $14,300.
The whole purpose is really to give us a better understanding of what the poverty situation is, so that better policies could be designed to deal with that.
Like the low-income working family allowance to start next year, households not on CSSA with 1 person working 144 hours or more a month and earning at or below the poverty line can get $600. One working 208 hours or more can get $1,000. Each child can also get $800. Along works 11 hours a day, 6 days a week, 264 hours a month. This means the Lee family would get $2,600 each month.
It'll help. Better than nothing.
Can let the kids learn things. Want better education for the kids.
A common aspiration among the 150 mainlanders a day, like Along, allowed to get a one-way permit to settle in Hong Kong for family reunion.
Family reunion, just a very honorable objective. But the thing is, this group of people, they tend to overall have a lower education attainment and skill level as well. So They come to Hong Kong, they end up needing some assistance and maybe falling below poverty line.
Living below the poverty line are 36.9% of people in newly arrived households, with at least one mainlander living in Hong Kong for under 7 years.
Very bad. Living conditions.
To get the full low-income working family allowance, Leung will have to keep working at least 208 hours a month.
To set a minimum requirement for a number of hours worked, I think that's proper. You don't want this scheme to replace people's incentive to work.
I feel it's a bit harsh because it's 208 hours, not for a couple added together. Better to lower the number of hours.
Mrs. Lau began last year to operate a stall at this bazaar in Tin Shui Wai, selling children's clothes and accessories.
I used to be a domestic helper. I work so hard. If I don't try it here, if I have to work 12 hours a day and my husband works 12 hours a day, then no one will take care of our 2 kids.
Mrs. Lau makes an average $500 a month. Her husband is a security guard, working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and earning about $13,000 a month. Mrs. Lau is worried that her family might not be eligible for a low-income working family allowance.
If we get a pay rise or I earn a bit more, we might not get it.
If the 4-member Lau family makes below $17,300, it can still get a half allowance, amounting to $1,300 a month.
You have to set a number somewhere that reflects the belief that the poverty line really is to be used as a reference and not as an exact measure of who's poor and who's not.
I think we need this allowance. At least we could buy more entertainment. My daughter wants to learn badminton. We want to eat out, go play in Macau. This Lunar New Year, we didn't buy new clothes.
The Lau family rents a public housing flat in Tin Shui Wai for $1,100 a month. It has government financial assistance of about $3,800 for each of their 2 children per year for school textbooks and transportation.
I have to buy secondhand textbooks. After school starts, there are air conditioning fees, miscellaneous fees that are over $1,000. Also, not enough for daily transport. I have to pay $150 out of pocket for each child every month.
Food is at least $4,500 a month. There are also medical fees to treat her son's nasal allergy, utilities, and tutoring. At the end of the month,
no money left. Conditions are like this. I have no choice. If I work 1 more year, earn at least $5,000 to $6,000 a month, then our lot will improve. I don't know how busy this bazaar will be. It's my hope.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Lau strives to spare about $1,000 a month for her kids' tutoring fees.
If I have more money for tutoring, they can get better grades and have more opportunities in the future. It'll be much better if they finish university.
In 2011, about a third of Hong Kong's workforce had an education level of Form 3 or below.
That's a pretty sizable proportion of people who don't have the necessary skills and the education to adjust to a very developed economy.
If we just relied on finance or real estate, most young people of lower education background, they cannot join this kind of sectors. They need creative industry that can be generate new jobs for the ordinary people in Hong Kong.
More than 200,000 children live below the poverty line in Hong Kong.
The entire society should be involved in the helping to alleviate poverty, and especially the business sector, to think of innovative programs that would, for example, provide training and mentorship to younger people so that they acquire the necessary skills to work. And that is the best way to stay out of poverty for the long term.
You can't control where you're from the rich or poor, the family.
50-year-old Alan Hui is an executive sous chef at the Langham Hotel in Tsim Sha Tsui.
But if you're from the poor family, that you still have a chance to grow. If you hard work My family is quite poor. Total have the 6. We're living in the 60 feet small house.
He started working after primary school.
My first job is the Chinese kitchen. Every day is a cleaning. No chance to touch any food.
After a month and a half, Alan quit and found another job with a Dai Pai Dong.
I worked more than a year. Lucky, my owner on that Dai Pai Dong, before he working in Mandarin Oriental, so he have the relationship in there. Step by step, work in the club and the hotel and high-class restaurant.
He's been with the Langham for about 10 years.
We're only using the flour, but that is the bottom, but quite nice for cooking. Hey, wait, 呢邊.
The hotel started working with Food Angel 2 years ago. Food Angel picks up leftover ingredients, then cooks and packs them in its own kitchens.
We are able to serve 3 dozens of hot meal every day and rescue nearly 2 tons of surplus food every day.
The meals are delivered to the needy, like this group of elderly, most of whom are living in public housing in Sham Shui Po.
Very tasty, cooked very well. Where else would we normally have such a good meal? I'm satisfied with life. I don't have many wishes because I'm by myself. What can they give me? If they gave me work to do, I wouldn't be capable, right?
I come every day. It's really tasty. It's hot, and most importantly, it's soft. A little more than $1,000. Pays my rent with money to spare.
Our role is kind of fill up the gap between the welfare system and the actual social needs. Sure, it's good if the government can do more by enhancing the welfare policy, and the business can better carrying their corporate social responsibility. All parties have to work together. I think it's more effective.
Coming up.
If you just count the income, we're above the poverty line, but then you don't count the expenses.
Living above the poverty line but can't make ends meet?
I think I'm now in the middle of the middle class. Can the government show that they are taking care of the middle class?
And what it means to be middle class. More on that when we return.